Newcastle United latest news talk.
With talkSPORT's Jet Cunningham. Live, weekly, on NUFC Talk TV. The voice of the Toon Army.
Hello, welcome to the Jack Cunningham Show with me, Jack Cunningham, on NUFC Talk TV. And, well, not a lot to talk about, is there? Just Barcelona, the Champions League. Unbelievable. We're going to be covering all of that. We're going to look at Chelsea as well. And basically, that is how we're going to do the show. It's going to be all about Barcelona. It's going to be about Chelsea as well. Get your comments in. Get your feedback in. I want to hear from everyone. I want to hear from you all. If you're on DAB, please do get across from DAB onto NUFC Talk TV, on to the YouTube. Get involved. Get your comments in, and we'll go through it. But, I mean, look, there is absolutely only one place to start, and it is the fact that Newcastle United take on Barcelona tomorrow at the Camp Nou in the Champions League round of 16. It's 1-1. It's all to play for, and it's a chance for the Magpies to make it into the quarterfinals of the Champions League for the first time ever. And suddenly you become, by just being in the quarterfinals, you suddenly have a very real chance of potentially going on and winning this competition, which is absolutely incredible when you think about it. Given that 10 years ago, Newcastle were lost 1-0 to Leicester City. Okazaki scored a overhead kick, and we were going to be relegated to the Championship. 9 years ago, we drew 0-0 with Birmingham City in the Championship. Now, I'm not one of these fans who's always like a case of like, ooh, look where we've been type of thing. But sometimes when you get a moment like this, you do have to look back and appreciate just how far the club has come, and the fact that these moments that are becoming kind of a regular thing for us felt like they were never, ever going to be, and for a long time felt as if they were never going to happen. And you've sometimes got to look back on that and appreciate how far the club has come under the ownership and under Eddie Howe's guidance. Now, again, this season has not been perfect, not by a long stretch of the imagination, but it has the chance to end absolutely beautifully. And let's just see what happens tomorrow. I'm so excited. I can't wait for it. It is the games that we have been praying for and begging for a long, long time. And we get the chance now to potentially go there and make some history. Now, let's not get carried away in the sense of, like, Barcelona are an absolutely top draw side at home. I think they've won their last 12 in a row at home in all competitions. They just won at the weekend, smashed the opposition, although it was a terrible dive at 0-0, by the way. They got awarded a penalty. So let's hope we can have some maybe more fair refereeing than that. But it is an opportunity, and it's great to see that Bruno Guimaraes has flown out there. Lewis Miley is on the plane, and Sandro Tonali is back from illness as well. And look, it's so exciting. It's so exciting. There's going to be 10,000 Geordies going over, going to have an absolute ball of a time in Barcelona, which is an unbelievable city anyway. And it's going to be a Geordie takeover, and hopefully we're celebrating long into the night and into the early hours of the morning. A famous victory for Newcastle and Eddie Howe. And we proved last week at St James's Park that we can cause them plenty of problems. There is no question about it that Barcelona know that they're going to be in for a game, and I'll be interested to see what the team's going to be, because I thought that there was a lot of players on Saturday who really stood up and were counted, and I'm interested to see what happens with that starting 11. I think, again, we'll look back on Chelsea as well, because let's be honest, that was a really, really good performance, really, really strong result from Newcastle. Defensively, it was rock solid, and maybe no coincidence that it was the first time Tino, Botman, Chow and Hall have all started a game together this season, which is quite insane when you think about it. But maybe that's no coincidence that is the case. So let's have a look back on all of that. Get your comments in as well. I'll have a little section throughout the show where we go through the comments. But let's just have a little look ahead to the game. Barcelona away in the Champions League. It is, no matter what happens, it's a special occasion for this football club. It is a chance for this side that has already made history. I mean, just over a year ago, we lifted the Carabao Cup. So I think that we go there with, I don't think there's anything to fear about Barcelona. I think it's going to be a harder game. I think it'll be different. They still have quite a few players out, and I think they've got Gavi back, which is a big one, of course. But I'm not expecting how much. I'm not sure how many minutes he's likely to play. They played a relatively strong side at the weekend. They did rest Yamal from the start. He came on. Now, I've got to be honest, I thought Yamal was absolutely pocketed by Lewis Hall last week. It was an incredible performance from Newcastle's left back that has, of course, suddenly seen loads of transfer speculation, which is, of course, incredibly boring, incredibly annoying. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking with that one. I mean, I feel like that's going to be a huge battle. You know, going to be a massive battle down our left-hand side, down there, right-hand side, Yamal v Hall. Hall got the better of him last week. Can he get the better of him again? I'm interested to see. How that goes in many ways. Another situation Newcastle have got to decide is who's going to start a right back, because Tino Livramento is back, fully fit, played the full 90 minutes on Saturday, played a massive role in the goal, lovely ball through. I know people were slagging off Chelsea's defending, but I still thought the pass was fantastic to Willock. And Livramento was top draw. He was against Garnacho, who of course is a player who divides opinion, I suppose we'll say, but I thought that Tino Livramento absolutely shut him down, allowed him to sometimes come inside and have some wild shots. But apart from that, it was a Tino typical defensive performance that we like to see. He's also very good at carrying the ball up the field, which I think would be quite handy against this Barcelona side, especially when they don't have their starting left back available for the game. So I'd be interested to see how it goes for there. Personally, I would start Tino. And again, I have been criticised of Trippier, but I think that what Trippier has done is really stepped in and stepped up in the last few weeks. I think there's not been many games he's played poorly. It's just he hasn't got the pace anymore. And against Rafinha, who is one of the best wingers in the world, I really want to see Livramento starting. Equally, I want to see Botman starting over Burn. Absolutely nothing against Dan Burn, but I don't think it's any coincidence that we kept a clean sheet and barely conceded a chance, to be honest, on Saturday with that back four of Tino, Chow, Botman and Hall, and with Ramsdale in goal. Ramsdale had a couple of saves to make from sort of the edge of the box. There wasn't a lot in it. I think that I would be disappointed if I didn't see Botman starting. I think that it's a Champions League game. It's a chance to progress into the quarterfinals. You've got to play strongest team, and the strongest team at the moment involves Botman playing over Dan Burn. And again, absolutely nothing against Dan Burn. As I repeatedly say all of the time, he will always be a Newcastle legend. But Botman is better than him. And I think that we're in a position where he should be starting this game if we're going to have the best possible chance of progressing. So I'd be going Botman over Burn. I'd be going Tino over Trippier. In midfield, Tonali back from illness. I think you absolutely start Tonali. I would go for Tonali, Ramsey and Joe Linton as my midfield. That would be my midfield, I think. I feel like Ramsey's undroppable at the moment. So a great piece from Mark Douglas, basically acknowledging just how good Ramsey has been, probably since the turn of the year, since he came back in at the side to replace Bruno Guimaraes. And I mean, I will always say it repeatedly. I've always been a huge fan of Jacob Ramsey. I love the way he plays football. I thought he'd always be a perfect signing for us, for what we need in midfield. What I wasn't expecting to do is fill in as a number 6 and run the show, because that's exactly what he did on Saturday. He was a number 6 and he ran the show. Equally against Barcelona in that first half, I don't think he lost possession against a side that good. And I thought he also it was creating chances. He was linking up beautifully on the right-hand side. So I'd get him back on the right, Tonali in the 6, Joe Linton on the left. And then I think you go with Elanga, Gordon and Barnes as my front 3. I think Gordon is playing really well again. Saw some really interesting stats on Gordon about his pressing numbers this season, which sort of dismiss any suggestion that he doesn't play well. Doesn't work hard. It's totally nonsense. Like the statistics show that he is one of the best pressing forwards in Europe, and you can criticize his form, but one thing I don't think you can ever criticize is his work rate. One thing you can never criticize is his work rate, in my opinion. I always think that Gordon always works hard. And that's one of the reasons he starts the majority of games. I think Barnes' work rate off the ball has increased massively. I thought that when he moved into midfield, at the end of the game on Saturday, he did really well. There was a brilliant interception he did to stop Cole Palmer getting in behind. That's great defensive awareness from Barnes. And also, Barnes scored last week. And if we're going to back anyone to get a goal, I'll be backing him over anyone else in the team. So for me, Barnes on the left, Gordon up front, and then Elanga on the right, because I thought Elanga did play well against Barcelona on Tuesday. Decision making, which again is a problem, and I don't know how much that's going to improve at his age, but I thought that his pace caused them loads of problems. He put in some really good crosses. There was some nice interplay between him and Ramsey on a lot of occasions as well. So I'll be going for Elanga on the right wing as well. And of course, Ramsdale in goal. He is the number 1 now until the end of the season. There's no question in my mind about that one. I don't know about beyond it. I personally wouldn't be spending £16 million on him. I would be going out and trying to get a new number 1 properly. And that's how I would do. That's what I would do in the summer. But that's for conversation for another time. For now, it's all about this game against Barcelona. The chance for these lads, a lot of them already, to make even more history wearing the black and white of Newcastle United. And I feel like we're playing them at a time where a lot of our players are playing well. And I feel as if we have done what we usually done under Eddie Howe, actually, where we start to pick it up in the second half of the season. Maybe sometimes a slow start of the campaigns, and then start to pick it up. Yes, there's the disappointing result against Everton. Yes, there's the disappointing result against Brentford. And of course, going out of the FA Cup to Manchester City. But apart from that, it's been mostly positive in between that with the Champions League and some other good results in there. I mean, back-to-back wins against Manchester United and Chelsea in the Premier League has not been sniffed at. And suddenly we're actually kind of back in the race for the top 5, which is very interesting. In terms of we're 7 points off Liverpool now, and I'm looking at the race for the top 5 in the sense of Liverpool look useless, Aston Villa look useless, and Chelsea look useless. Brentford then dropped points again against Wolves last night. They seem to be dropping off at the wrong time as well. With 8 games to go and some okay fixtures, I don't know. I was totally against us ever making the Champions League game, but now I'm not so sure. I certainly think we can get some European football. This has the potential to be a lovely ending to what has been a really, really disappointing season so far in a lot of ways. So we've got to take this game for what it is. It's a chance. It's not sort of free hit or any nonsense like that. It is a big opportunity to make some history, make your names be forever remembered. Whoever scores potentially the winning goal, whatever, at the Camp Nou, you'll be remembered forever. And I'm sure that is the message from Eddie Howe. And look, he already said last week how important the game was. So this game, by that standard, is even more important. Now, we will hear from Howe at some point later on today. Newcastle flying to Barcelona this morning. They'll train on the Camp Nou pitch this evening. and then it'll all be about just getting prepared for the game tomorrow. Now, let me have a look through some early comments and we can have a chat with whoever's on. So a few people making some score predictions, which is great. Always good. And think Trolls. Oh, yeah, I mean, Choppy, hey, great point. Newcastle take 10,000 away to Barcelona and Bournemouth get 11,000 for a home game. Yeah, look, I think the suggestion that Newcastle are not a big club always sort of annoys me because, I mean, if you just got to look at the Carabao Cup parade last year, 250,000 people, was it? That's a sign of a big club. You know, let's be fair. That is the sign of a big club. No big club doesn't do that. Now, maybe globally, the fan base isn't absolutely massive, but certainly growing. You know, there's plenty of global fans, and I feel as if this is a sign of just how big it is. I mean, how many people have got tickets? I think Newcastle got through just over 3,000 tickets for the Camp Nou. So there's going to be 7,000 Newcastle fans in Barcelona who don't have tickets. And they're going over for the atmosphere. They're going over to soak it up, and they're going over to watch it in bars, and they're going over to watch it potentially become, again, a night that we'll always remember. And it'll set up a quarter-final against Atletico Madrid or Spurs, more likely Atletico Madrid. And again, that'll be a chance to go to Madrid. So keep these European trips coming. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's great. I love how many fans are going out there. I've seen already loads of people are there from sort of this morning, arriving last night. I'm going tomorrow morning. Got a very early flight, so a 7:40 flight from Stansted, and I land about 11, and then it's on it from there really. And I can't wait. I can't wait. I think it's something that I've certainly dreamed of for a long time. Getting to see Newcastle play in the Camp Nou against Barcelona in the Champions League. It's a stadium I've always wanted to go and watch a game in anyway. So to watch Newcastle play there is even more special, and it's going to be great. Now, and of course, if we win, it's a night for the ages, isn't it? It's an absolute night for the ages, and a year on from winning the Carabao Cup as well, it'd be another great moment with that as well, of course. So yeah, I love that point as well. Few people, Tracy's made an interesting point. So I think they were trying to feel out how we'd play, or trying to dupe us into a false sense of security. If not, I'm surprised at how they played for being Barca. Yeah, I don't think there was any. To be honest, I don't think there was anything about them playing in a way to try and trick us or anything, because I feel as if it was more a case of they wanted to limit the scoreline, I think, in a lot of ways. So I think that they will be happy with 1-1. They didn't deserve 1-1. They will be happy with 1-1. Now, for me, it is disappointing, of course, as well. But I also do think that at 1-0, I don't know if we would have maybe actually gone to a five at the back and just invited a bit more pressure than maybe was needed. And I think that actually tomorrow we'll go there, play the normal 4-3-3, and be aggressive and in their face, because that's when we're our best. So I think that's what we'll see. I think that maybe if it's 1-0, maybe not. I think at 2-0 you can do that, because even if you concede early on, yes, the game plan changes, but you still got a goal at least. Now, we've seen Barcelona pull off some absolutely insane Champions League comebacks, of course, in the past. But I do think I don't think they duped us into a false security at all. I think that what happened is we just played extremely well and bullied them all over the pitch in numerous positions, and we can do it again. Just because it's in their stadium doesn't mean anything. It's still the same players. It's still the same level of physicality that they have compared to our level of physicality that we have. And as I've said, a lot of our players are playing really well at the moment. Like Lewis Hall, absolutely incredible. Chow, playing brilliantly. Ramsey, so good at the moment. Tonali, Joe Linton, that midfield three are playing so well. Like, they've really stepped it up. Gordon back to sort of levels of 23, 24. I think certainly for the last month or so, he's been excellent. Maybe bar Everton. I think apart from that, he's played well in every other game he's played. and Alanga playing better as well. So I'm interested. I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see what happens. Of course, I am. But I do feel as if that is a, and that's a really good, and that's a really good recipe for us to go there. I think if we go there with a lot of players maybe not playing well, maybe the confidence down, it feels different, but it does feel as if we are playing them at the right time for us anyway. Now, Choppy asking, can anyone see Dan Burn going in the summer? This is interesting. I think what I'm with Dan Burn personally is that, well, again, it seems like the Scalvini links are not going away. I'll tell you that for certain. So I think that there's definitely going to be a centre-back signed in the summer, potentially two, but I think definitely one. I think Byrne will become the backup left centre back. I think is what I'm seeing in my view, and then I think you'll have Chow and Scalvini. Or let's just say we signed Scalvini, but Chow and Scalvini, and then Byrne and Botman. And I think one thing with Dan Byrne is that he's happy to be part of the leadership group. He's living the dream every day. He scored in the cup final to help Newcastle win their first trophy in 70 years, domestic trophy in 70 years. He scored in the Champions League. He scored in the Champions League twice, actually. He's scored in the Premier League a few times, big goals in the Premier League for us as well. I feel as if Byrne is the type of player who, although he'll want to play every game, I think he will be happy to be part of the squad and still be part of the leadership group, knowing that he'll play quite a lot of minutes still anyway, as long as Newcastle gets some European football, of course. But he's not probably going to be the overall starting centre back, or certainly that's how I would do it anyway. So I think that's an interesting question. Ryan from Seattle, welcome, by the way. He feels like Eddie Howe favors Byrne over Botman. Yeah, I think, I mean, I think one thing with Botman is, yes, injury issues this season. Not so much. It's only been the back one. He's been fine apart from that. And when he has played, he's been really, really good, especially since he signed his new contract. So since he signed his new contract, I think that Botman's played really, really well. I've been extremely impressed with his performances. Feel like we're getting back to those 22, 23 levels of Sven Botman, where he was a Rolls Royce. Thought on Saturday, really good in possession, really good out of possession. Lovely partnership with Chow, because Chow's got the pace that Botman doesn't have, but they're both comfortable on the ball. They're both big lads who are more than happy to throw themselves in front of it. They both anticipate things very well. I think that's got the potential to be a dream centre-back partnership for a very, very long time, actually, to be honest. There's a couple more questions, actually, so I'll quickly go through them, and then I'll get back to having a chat about a few things. So Connor is asking me, would you keep the same back five as v Chelsea? They look great, confident, and defend everything. I know what you mean by back five, you mean Ramsdale, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I can't believe the stat I saw that said it was the first time that they've played together this season in a back four. The only other time they played together was in a back five when... Yeah, the only time they played in a back five was the 0-0 draw against Bournemouth, where actually was probably our best defensive display this season because we limited Bournemouth to absolutely nothing at all. So I feel as if I would be going for the same back four. Absolutely. Tino can lock up Rafinha. We've seen Hall can lock up Yamal. I know Yamal probably on the Camp Nou pitch maybe a little bit different, but he's still the same player. Hall's still the same player. And then Botman and Chow are just a dream partnership. They both play really well together, and I think that Chow plays better when he's alongside Botman, probably because he's just got a little bit more confidence in Botman, and that's not a slight on Dan Burn at all. It's just the fact that Botman is better. He is just better. There's not much else to it. He is just better, and we're playing this Champions League game. You've got to play your best team. I would be a bit disappointed, to be honest, if I see Trippier and Burn starting over Botman and Tino, because I mean, like, I understand that these are players who have been great for us and have even performed well at points this season, but equally they've had some bad games this season, them too. I don't think Tino's played badly this season when he's been fit. The main issue is him not being fit. And I think Botman's played really well in most games. There was probably a dodgy one against Leeds, maybe, and then Bournemouth in the FA Cup. That was when I was a bit worried. And that's when I was saying actually hold off on giving him a new contract. But I think since he signed his new contract, I've been impressed with how Sven Botman is playing. So that's an interesting one as well. I saw another question about Premier League being biased towards 6 clubs. I'm not gonna go into that one. I think that we're getting into talks of corruption and stuff. But Trolls is asking me a good question. So don't you think we need a goal before going 3 at the back, Jack? Yeah, no, sorry, I'm not saying. I'm saying definitely don't go 3 at the back. I'm saying that I want the back 4. So I want Ramsdale in goal, Tino, Chow, Botman, Hall. Look, I understand that if we've got a lead, that is what Eddie does. He usually makes that change and he brings a centre back on. I personally wouldn't do it even if we've got a lead, because I just think I enjoy what Fabregas said about that, where Fabregas said, I'll never do that because he says it invites pressure on, and it does invite pressure on. And Brentford did it last night, actually. Brentford took off Damsgaard. So Damsgaard was injured, attacking midfielder. Damsgaard was playing in centre midfield, and he got injured. So then he brought Ayer on, Keith Andrews, and then Tolu equalised for Wolves, because you just invite that little bit of pressure on. So I wouldn't actually go to the back 5 at any point. I know he does it. I wouldn't personally. And I think that Hall and Tino, you got your best chance against Yamal and Rafinha. So for me, they're the fullbacks, and then I think Botman and Chowie centre backs, because they complement each other so beautifully. Quite a funny question from Harpal. Am I a Bruno or a Sangria man? I'm going to maybe offend quite a few people. I don't like Newcastle Brown Ale at all. I think it's pretty horrible, to be honest. I get that it used to be brewed in Newcastle, but I'm not a fan. I'd rather have a neck oil or something like that, gotta be honest. And a Sangria. I'll be treating me on La Ramblas tomorrow in the sun. I'll treat myself to a Sangria. Absolutely, I will. So, yeah, definitely. But, yeah, welcome as well, Harpal. Of course, great to have you on once more. Now, we'll go into Barcelona a little bit more as well. But let's have a look back on Chelsea, because there's 2 things. I want to look at the performance. I also want to look at Anthony Gordon's comments when he came out to defend him not starting against Barcelona. So, because I thought they were really, really interesting. So I'm going to leave them for a little bit. But let's look back on the Chelsea performance. Now, going into the game, I've got to be honest, I wasn't too bothered about it, because in my view, I was looking at where we were in the sense of the Premier League table. It felt like Europe was slipping away. It felt like our season was all on the Champions League. So I wouldn't have been too bothered if there'd been a lot of rotation. In the end, there was quite a bit of rotation from the Barcelona game, but there was a few players who played that I wasn't actually expecting them to. And we turned up against Chelsea, and I thought that Ramsey ran the show in the number 6 role against Caicedo, who apparently one of the best midfielders in the league. Absolutely not. Nonsense. Enzo Fernandez, who I don't rate anyway, but he scores a few goals sometimes. And who else have there? Cole Palmer playing. Reece James in midfield, who I do like a lot. Reece James, very, 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 very good player, but not really a midfielder. But still, when he plays in midfield, I think it was a game against Arsenal earlier in the season where he absolutely ran the show as well. Ramsey dominated that midfield. He was so good. Willock was unbelievable. That was a great performance from Joe Willock. Loved what I saw from him. Really well for the goal. Great ball through by Tino. And then I thought he was going to shoot. And you know what? Fair play to him. He's doing the FIFA sweaty. That was what it was. The FIFA sweaty. He sees Gordon. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to make sure that's a goal. Gordon has the time to take a touch and score, because Fofana just give up, which is absolutely disgraced, by the way. I can't believe he just gave up. Gordon burned past him. He was like, no, I've got a goal here. I'm sniffing a goal here. We should have had a penalty. Initially, I thought it was 2. Because I thought that Gordon's one where Fofana came across and sort of sliced at him was a penalty, but in the end, I've seen it again. He did win the ball. Fair enough. Initially, I thought it was a penalty. I got wrong. No worries. But the other one, Reece James on Chow, how was that not a penalty? Like, Chow's 6'4". Reece James is 5'10". The only way Reece James is not letting Chow get the ball is by doing that. So he just wrestles him to the ground. They checked it on VAR as well. They actually checked it. They came up with a few replays. I was like, that's got to be a penalty. That's got to be a penalty. Nope, no penalty, whatever. Ridiculous decision to not give a penalty for that. And then, of course, after the game, Rosenior whinging about the penalty that they thought they had. Again, initially, what I'd say on that one is I actually thought initially it was a penalty. Then I saw again, I was like, hang on, Palmer stood on Waldemar and gone down. That is an absolute disgrace. Get up. And that was it, all their career, really, wasn't it? I think Ramsdale made a save from Palmer from the edge of the box. Delap fired one over from inside the area as well. I honestly, I've got no idea. Honestly, I've got no idea. I've got no idea. They created nothing. It was a really, really strong. It was really, really strong performance. Really, really strong performance. It was, as I said, I wouldn't have been too bothered if we'd lost, because I was kind of like, I don't think that would have actually affected. Yeah, I don't think it would have actually affected how we felt about this game and going into this game. But it actually has turned into a really good confidence boost going into this game and seeing some players come back and playing well, and without to go to Stamford Bridge, by the way, which has not won since 2012, and to win without Tonali, Bruno, or Joelinton starting is very, very impressive. That is very, very impressive. I know Chelsea aren't absolutely incredible, but they still have some top players in that side, and it was an impressive, strong performance from Newcastle. Gordon was a live wire up front, unlucky not to score a couple of goals, actually, to be honest. And of course, I say Tracy mentioning that, so we will talk about that. What on earth was respecting the ball about? Respecting the ball. I mean, come on, Rosenior, what are you talking about? There's 3 balls. They use a multi-ball system. It's not even the same ball that they end up with. As soon as it goes that play, another one's on. That was absolute garbage. I mean, this thing about they were doing in the centre circle is performative nonsense. Performative nonsense. Do your huddle in your half like every other team does. For one, I don't even know why teams do a pre-match huddle anyway. You've had the discussion already. You've had it already in the dressing room. But obviously every team now does a pre-match huddle before the first half, before the second half, whatever. And then you do it on the centre circle and Paul Tierney's in the middle of it. And then they got the cheek to blame... Then you got the cheek to blame Paul Tierney for it. No, the referee's standing there on the centre circle, ready to get the game underway, and you boyos just come around him and put him in a circle. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. What, you want me to duck and get out of the way of it? No, nonsense. And then after the game, Rosenior saying about the referee's decision rather than maybe speaking about Chelsea. And I think what he said is they didn't have the mental freshness to break us down or something. No. Newcastle defended very, very well and probably should have scored some other goals because we had the better chances in the game. And I was blown away by that, to be honest. I couldn't believe it. And I'm saying some stuff about Waldemar. We'll touch on Waldemar because, again, I felt like he divided opinion massively at the weekend. And it's fair enough. He's not a midfielder. Let's be clear. I think he can be. I still believe he can be an actual number 10, where you play him in the number 10 role, but not on the left hand side of midfield. No, it's not right. It doesn't. But what I will say is I thought he worked really hard. He wasn't in the game a lot, but he was battling. Whenever he did win it back, he just kept it simple, played passes out wide, kept it, played backwards, whatever. There wasn't many times that he lost the ball. He actually creates the first goal, because I saw this was on Inside Chelsea, which is, again, talkSPORT's Chelsea show. Jason Cundy was talking about it, and he said that the reason the first goal happened is because the only goal happened is because Reece James, playing in midfield, watches Waldemar walk into the back line the Chelsea back line, and Reece James goes and man's mark him, and then that opens up the space for Willock to run into. So I thought that was interesting. But again, I saw loads of people slagging Waldemar off again, after the game, and I didn't really agree with it, because I thought that he's not a midfielder, but what he is doing is he's working hard for the team, and he's not losing possession either when he's got it. So yeah, I didn't think it was an awful performance for Waldemar at all. I didn't think he was one of. I don't think he might have been one of our worst. He might have weirdly been one of our worst players, but that's because everyone else played really well. So, and just because he wasn't in the game a lot, but it's going to happen because he's a forward player playing in midfield. Again, as I said, I think as a number 10, I'd like to see him maybe in that number 10 role, 100%. Or you play him as the number 9, and you get men around him. But look, and another thing that I get is that Newcastle play different football, and the one thing I always say with Waldemar, and I'll always say it, is that to evolve as a football team, you need technicians in your football team. He's a technician. Get him in the team for certain games, even if it is just certain games. Even if it is just certain games at the moment, get him in the team against teams who are going to play a low block against us, because he can unlock the door with his technique, with his intelligence. And that's what it is. Like, for example, like what I don't want to see in the rest of the season when Bruno is back. Do you know what I mean? When Bruno's back, what I don't want to see is games that we play against sides who sit deep and Joe Linton starting every game, because that's not Joe Linton's game. He's not going to break down. Who we are coming up? Forest, for example. He's not going to break down a Forest. He's not going to break down a Sunderland even. Joe Linton, although to be honest, Joe Linton probably should play the derby simply because Bruno's obviously not back. But I mean, when Bruno's back, so Nottingham Forest after the international break, Joe Linton's not going to break those teams down. But a Jacob Ramsey and a Bruno and Tonali, that is going to break those teams down, because you've got two incisive passes of the football there, and then Tonali holding things together in the deeper midfield role. So that's what I don't want to see once Bruno's back. And I do think we've actually dealt with Bruno's absence relatively well so far, and especially if we do get through, into the next round of the Champions League without Bruno Guimaraes, that's impressive, and he'll be back for the quarterfinals as well. So yeah, I'm interested to see. What happens there. But yeah, I thought the Waldemar thing again, a clearly divided opinion. Honestly, you just typed his name into X, Twitter, whatever you call it, Twitter. I'm calling it X, Twitter, and it was basically like either he's doing as much as he can in a position he's not accustomed to, or he's rubbish, get him off. And he has totally divided the fan base. I don't think he's been protected well enough, actually, by Eddie Howe, in truth, to be honest. I think that's definitely one thing that I'll criticise Howe about this season, because I think that he hasn't defended him well enough, and equally, I don't think he's definitely not used him well enough either, to be fair. So that's the situation where we're at on that one. Yeah, that's the situation with Waldemar, and I thought Gordon did really, really well. Really good performance from Gordon. Aggressive from the front, winning the ball out the field, dangerous, lively, linking up the play. Again, for the rest of the season, he's probably the striker, to be honest. And that gets Barnes into the team as well. And I think that for the rest of the season, he's probably the striker. Not because he does press well. He does press well. He does lead the line well in that sense, and he is our top goal scorer this season. And although it was a tap in, he creates the tap in with the run, because he senses an opportunity with Willock being played in behind, and he burns past Fofana, because he's like, no, I can get a goal here. And one thing with Gordon I've seen is, like, again, I feel like he divides the fan base a little bit as well. I think that you can criticise his form, by the way. You can absolutely criticise his form. And I think that is fair enough, because I don't think he's been good enough for us since sort of the start of last season, bar a few months. But I do think that in the last month or so, he's starting to get back to those levels again, playing well, playing well, playing well. And he has always worked hard, always put a shift in for Newcastle, on and off the ball, always presses from the front, always is in the faces of the opposition. So I've never got that criticism where he's lazy or whatever. So I've never got that. And then I thought the way he came out afterwards, actually, of the game and called out Wayne Rooney. He didn't call out Shearer, but of course that's who we know he was on about as well. And I feel like he was absolutely right to do so because, as I said at the time, there is no way, in my opinion, that Gordon, if he'd been fit to start, wouldn't have started that game against Barcelona. This is the Champions League. It's what he thinks he should play in. He's the second top goal scorer in the competition this season. It's only 3 behind Mbappe, which is mental. Like, there's no way he wouldn't have started. And I really enjoyed the fact he came out and called it out and said that it was nonsense, and said that about Wayne Rooney, like apparently him not shaking his hand or whatever. So I really enjoyed that from Gordon, because I think that more footballers should do that sometimes when pundits make assumptions and make judgments on players and make, like, I guess, infer things from what's happened. Obviously, after the game, there wasn't really too much from Howe. And then, of course, at his pre-match press conference, Howe did make it very clear that it was my decision not to start Anthony because he wasn't fully fit. He'd been ill. He'd been in bed for 3 days or whatever. So that was good that happened. And then, of course, as I said, on that Saturday after the Chelsea game, he comes out and he defends himself and he calls out the people who were saying that he didn't want to play. And again, like, I'm totally with that, because I feel as if there's no way he wouldn't have wanted to play the game. He had just scored 4 goals in the last round against Karabag. I think that he was after more goals. Of course he was. So, yeah. I mean, that's just what I think. That's just what I think. I think that he was absolutely right to do that. I really do think he was right to come out and defend himself. And I want to see more footballers doing it, because sometimes pundits do get away with just saying a load of nonsense. So I suppose I get away with saying a load of nonsense on here. So, sometimes footballers should feel like they can come out and defend themselves. I think it's good, and it shows that Gordon, as we know it anyway, but he is a character and he is a personality, and I think that's important to have that. And he definitely did his England chances no harm with his performance on Saturday. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if again he turns into top performance for us tomorrow night as well, because these are the games that he really enjoys playing. And look, in the first game against Barcelona, he led the line really well as well. I mean, he missed an absolute sitter. He missed the ball from like 6 yards out, and that is incredible. But I think that Gordon's found that confidence again, and he's playing to a standard whereby, I think so, okay, that's interesting. I've seen Kevin's made that point here about the Gordon's commitment. The Manchester City one, the hamstring injury where he came off with the hamstring injury. Look, if he feels his hamstring, I'd rather he takes no risks at all. Like, I didn't get that either when people were saying that, he was playing well in the game. He was playing well in the game, and we were only 2-1 down. He was playing well in the game, and we were 2-1 down. So I didn't agree with that at all. I thought that he felt something in his hamstring. They decided not to take any risks. They had a scan. It was fine. It was clear, and he played again, and that was fine for me, because he was playing well in the game. It wasn't like he was having an absolute stinker in that game. He was playing really well in the match against Manchester City. And then he said he felt something in his hamstring. He comes off. I didn't understand where that came from. Like, if that had been another player, if that had been a Joe Linton or a Bruno, would anyone be questioning it? No. So this is where the thing with Gordon for me makes a little sense, because I am not, and I'm not sitting here saying I've been a Gordon defender for all this time, because I haven't. I really haven't been. I was saying at the start of the season, I want Barnes starting over him. Gordon's England place should be actually in question. But that was because of his form and not his commitment and his work rate. They are different things. He's always had the commitment and work rate, in my opinion. The form has been questionable. The form's now back, and it's gone with and it's now combined with the commitment and work rate, and you look like you've got a really dangerous, lively player again. So that's great. Now, a few more comments as well, so I'll whip through a few of them. But just remind, of course, like and subscribe to the channel. Again, like I'd say that this is NUFC Talk, and we are growing all of the time. It's so great to see we're nearly on 9,000 subscribers. So brilliant to get there. That'd be fantastic. And look, and there's a new show as well with Daniel Wales, really good Northeast-based journalist who's bringing you inside the press room. We had Craig Hope on earlier in the week, and Andrew Musgrove on last week as well. So that's a really good new show. And again, it's just Chris and all of the team keep bringing you great Newcastle content. They give me the chance every week to come on, do this show with you guys. It's really good. Really appreciate it. Love it as well. Love all the support that I get from all of you as well. And I love interacting with you all as well, because we might not agree on everything. In fact, we definitely don't. But what is clear is we're all just passionate Newcastle fans, and we all want the best for our football club. And that's all we ever want. And that's the key thing for me. So that's all brilliant. So yeah, do remember to like and subscribe. If you're not an NTTV member, do consider doing that as well. It's £4.99 a month. And of course, again, just a reminder of Inside the Toon, Newcastle United, talkSPORT's dedicated Newcastle United show, weekly show, 50-minute show, by Newcastle fans, for Newcastle fans. We've seen a really good growth over the last few weeks. So if you have been watching, really, really appreciate it. If not, please do head over to the talkSPORT Newcastle YouTube channel and give it a watch. And we'll have the latest one out on Thursday, whereby we'll all be extremely hungover. But, it'll be good fun, won't it? So that's great. Now, I'm seeing something from Connor here. I was just saying Barcelona boss Hansi Flick says his side will have to play the perfect game tomorrow to beat fast and physical Newcastle United in the new camp. Yeah, look, Hansi Flick has been extremely complimentary of Newcastle for basically every time we've played them. I think that he's been really, 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 really complimentary. And I think that he's very respectful to Newcastle, and he understands that what makes it such a great matchup, I think, is that we proved last week that we're really good at the things they're bad at. Now, what I do want to see stop is the long throw, because we haven't got anyone to take one, so stop doing it. Like, Tino's attempts at long throw are so bad. Stop it. Please, Tino. Stop it. Whoever's telling him to do them, stop it. It doesn't even reach the box. Just don't do it again. Honestly, Barcelona have got a small team, but it doesn't matter if you can't get it into the box, does it? So don't do that again. But yeah, I thought that's a really good one. Hippie Druid, welcome, by the way. Does anyone else think Eddie Howe was trying to rebrand Big Nick Waldemar to a midfielder like he did with Joe Linton? Is it working? Well, if he is trying that, it's not working. I don't think he is. To be honest, I think what he is doing is he's accepted that at this moment in time, the best Newcastle is again being that pressing style of football, because he has tried to evolve it this season. I think it just hasn't quite happened because he hasn't got some of the players in certain positions to do it. So I think he's gone back to, right, what are we good at? What do we know we're good at? Well, we're good at this. Let's have a striker who can press from the front. We'll go with Gordon up front for now. I think it's more just a case of Waldemar trying to get him into the team in some way. And also, we do have a massive player out, of course, in Bruno Guimaraes, and also Miley as well. So we're only down to 4 actual midfielders. So I think he just wants, so Walterman's playing as that 5th midfielder for this moment in time. I think that, look, I don't know what's going to happen in the summer with him. I've said so many times that I want to keep him on, actually build the team around him, because I think that to evolve to the next level, you need players like that, and you need to build your team around players like that, because we need to find a different way of playing against certain teams. But I also equally wouldn't be surprised if he goes, and I would reflect on it and think it was a waste opportunity. And I'm sure wherever he goes, he did really well. He does really well. But that's what I don't want to happen. But I can see it, just simply because he doesn't fit in with how we play. But that's more a sign of, well, you can't play the same way all of the time. Manchester City don't play the same way all the time. Arsenal don't play the same way all of the time. You've got to evolve. You have got to evolve in my view. So yeah, I think that's a fair point. But yes, what else we got? Got Adam talking about Waldemar's performance was interesting. So Waldemar looked sharper and faster. The rest midweek was needed from him. Yeah, I also think that's a fair point as well. I think with Waldemar, if you look at how much senior first team football he's played in his career before this move to Newcastle, it's very limited actually. And yeah, it's very, very limited. It's very, very limited. The amount of first team football he's played before he joined Newcastle is as much as you would expect, maybe for a player of his age, but that's for various reasons. Now, obviously, at the start of the season, he had to play every single game because Visser was injured and Asuda was injured. And then since Visser and Asuda have come back, he's kind of been rotated around a bit, and then he's been moving to midfield a bit. And in midfield, of course, you're going to run more than you are up front as well. So I think the tiredness factor is absolutely a fair point as well. So yeah, I mean, there's other people commenting on Waldemar as well, which is really interesting, of course. And Ryan from Seattle saying agree on Bruno. I think we have put to rest the idea that we're unable to win without him. You know what? This is massive. You know, it is massive. Like, I think that when he was out, and when you found out he's out for so long, you are extremely worried. I mean, extremely worried that we are going to not win any games at all. And we have managed to win some big games without him. And you have to give credit to the way that the lads have stepped up. Really, I think Joe Linton's played really well since he scored that goal against Burnley on the last game of 2025. So since basically 2026 this year, I think he's played really well in every game he's played. I think Ramsey, again, really stepped up a level. He is, I mean, again, I've always liked him, but one thing I never thought I'd see him do is play as a number 6 against a team like Chelsea, who have, Caicedo, again, considered one of the best midfielders in the world. I feel like he is maybe even better than I thought he was. And Thomas Tuchel was there on Saturday. It might be too late, but I would like to see him get an England call-up, actually. I'd like to see him get an England call-up. I think he deserves it. I think he deserves it. He's playing really, really well. And he's added goals and assists as well. With a couple of goals against Tottenham and Everton. A few assists as well. So I feel like Ramsey is really stepping up. And he also should have a few more assists as well. He's putting some lovely balls through people who are then missing. So that's not on him. He's doing everything right there. So I really think this is a good time to be a Newcastle midfielder, which is really good. Really interesting stuff, I feel, with that one. And Jordy Dancing, I want a Gordon sold, but he's turned it around. Yeah, look, I think that I've said this before as well. Like, I've said that with Gordon's form, because that was more the thing. I've never questioned his work rate or his attitude, but his form was definitely questionable. You can absolutely question that, and you have every right to question that as well. And I feel like he has turned it around. His form is good now. His form is good. The summer is going to be interesting because he is going to go to the World Cup and he is probably going to start for England. And if he has a good World Cup, that potentially leads to more interest in him as well. I guess the thing people are worried about is how is he going to act if a bid comes in for him, I suppose. That's what I kind of feel like maybe that's what people are worried about. Is it going to be an Isak situation again? Would it be more respectful? I would hope it'd be more respectful simply because Newcastle have not done what Everton did to him. You know, Everton fans, the way they treated him at the end was an absolute disgrace for a guy who's come through their academy. I know he's a Liverpool fan, but he still came through their academy. It was an absolute disgrace the way they treated him. Newcastle fans have been basically nothing but respectful to him. I know he got booed against Everton, which was a bit weird, but whatever. Most of the time, it's absolutely fine. And we've given him a platform to grow as a player. So I'm interested to see what happens with that. I don't know what will happen in the summer. Now, original Guy Fawkes, what do you think of Vista avoiding the camera on the way in the dressing room after the Chelsea game and then not appearing in the team photo? Yeah. I might be done with him already, I reckon. I feel like if you're going to kick up so much of fuss to make a move to Newcastle, and then you get injured, not your fault. And you choose to miss the AFCON, which I really, really appreciate. I thought that was really good. And then you score a few goals at the start, but then you get dropped because you play one game against your old team, and it was like playing with 10 men because he didn't put them under any pressure whatsoever. And since then, he's not started a game. In that he started that Brentford game. He missed a good chance at 1-0. When I say missed a good chance, it was a good block off the line. Not his fault. Good block off the line. And then, but it was off the ball where he was doing absolutely nothing. And since then, he's not started. And now he's in a huff. So I saw the video of when Murphy's doing all the sliding in front of the fans and stuff. This is the first one off. He's standing at the back. He's kind of like half-heartedly applauding. And then he comes off, doesn't look at the camera, not in the team photo. Yeah, like, get rid of him. I've had enough already. £55 million on this guy. He had to make an immediate impact. He hasn't. And the one thing I ask, if you're going to play for Newcastle, and and don't get me wrong, sorry, it's the same with every. I think it's the same with every fan, right? I think it's the same with every fan. It's not just Newcastle fans. It's not just that. Put some effort in, man. You're wearing the number 9 shirt for our football club, famous football club. That shirt is the most famous number we have. In fact, in terms of us around football, it's one of the most famous numbers around. Newcastle United's number 9 shirt because of the people who've worn it. Put some effort in, and that's what's annoying me. And if you're not going to invest in the team photo, you're not going to invest in the fans, then that's another thing. Like, get out. The whole point of this side that Eddie Howe's built is that everyone is behind. Everyone's united. Even Waldemar is frustrated, but he's always involved with the fans. Always there clapping. Always there, like, working hard when he's in midfield as well, and he's not a midfielder. So that is something. That is effort. This has given me no effort whatsoever, and effort's one of those things where it's like anyone can do it. Like, you put me there in the number 9, I'll be absolutely terrible. But I'll tell you what we'll do. I will run around the whole game. You want me to chase after him? I'm chasing after him. I'll chase after him because I'm representing Newcastle United and I'm wearing the number 9 shirt. I'm going to drive myself into the ground for the club, and he's not doing it. That's why Asula is getting more minutes over him, because Asula runs. Asula drives forward, and Asula scores goals that Vissa can't. Vissa would not have scored that goal that Asula did against Manchester United. So I'm really glad you brought that up, original Guy Fawkes, because although the whole show has been positive mainly, he's a big negative at the moment. And I'm at the point now where he's got to go. I get rid of him in the summer. Like, we'll just accept it, move on. Potentially our worst ever signing. Sound, you're gone. Alanga, again, you can criticise Alanga's output. Absolutely you can. But Alanga is clearly invested in Newcastle. He's clearly trying. He's clearly trying to get better. I'm not saying any of that from Vissa when he's on the pitch. He's offering me nothing. So, for me, yeah, that's what I'm after that one as well. So this is a good point from Foxy about Gordon. I've noticed a lot of flip-flopping over Gordon last week. Only takes one decent game for him to get too much praise and one poor game to be scapegoated. Very rarely in between. Really, really good point. Really, really good point. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think that Gordon deserves praise for how he's playing the last 6 weeks. And I think, as I've said, his form since the start of last season. So, yeah, his form since the start of last season has not been good enough, bar a few months last year and now, basically. But I think one thing with what I will say is, I think it's the people who question his work rate that I've not got. Don't think you can ever question that. You can definitely question his form, but don't think you can question his work rate. That's just where I'm at with that one, to be honest. So, yeah, I think that's a fair point with that one. Again, that's another point from Ryan from Seattle. I thought the bigger deal was Visser not being in the team pick. I don't want to make assumptions, but if he wasn't in it, it's because he was upset. I think that's a huge problem, team above self. Yeah, totally agree on that one. This is an interesting point from Connor. If Waldemar had Gordon's penalties beyond 19 goals, would people be complaining? No, they absolutely wouldn't be. But I'm not going to take Gordon's penalties away from him because Gordon is the penalty taker and feel like he's a very reliable penalty taker. He might even be more reliable than Isak because I feel like with Isak, I was always a bit like, he might miss, He might miss. But I feel like Gordon, I'm pretty confident he's going to score every single penalty. As I say, he's missed one, which was against Everton at Goodison Park, which, I mean, of course he was going to miss that. Like, he shouldn't took that. I remember when he stepped up to take it, I was like, can you just have like Nick Pope, you come forward and take it. You've got a better chance of scoring this than Gordon does at the Gladys Street end at Goodison Park. So, yeah, that's what I think on that one. There's a few more comments on Visser, and this is interesting from Trulls saying, has Gordon upped his game because he wants to be in the World Cup, or is it with the team? You see, this is where I don't get this thing with Gordon, because if Joe Linton upped his game for us, would you then say, is it because he wants to go to the World Cup or is it because it's for the team? Or if Lewis Hall played even better than he has this season, would it be a case of, oh, he's doing it for getting the World Cup and is it for the team? So why is it with Gordon? I just want to know why people think that is with Gordon. Is it because he talks about himself in very high, I guess, got high standard of himself because he's got very strong self-belief, which borderlines on arrogance. It borderlines arrogance. And I think it's the way people perceive it, but he has got total belief in his ability. So is it because of that? Or what else is it? Because if someone else stepped up in form, I'm not sure those questions would be put out there. That's just what I think. So I want to know from anyone why maybe they say it differently with Gordon, because I do get that, but is it just simply because he's playing better now, and just because the World Cup's coming up? I don't know, because I think that I've criticised Gordon this season, like absolutely. I mean, like against West Ham away, awful. Like, but then in the Champions League, brilliant. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm not sure on. That's just what I'm not sure on. Now, Trills has responded, which is absolutely fair enough, saying they have been better than Gordon. They have. Fair point. Absolutely fair point. Can't argue with that one. I think that, but I think it's an interesting debate because I think there's a lot of people who think that way. They think that when Gordon's playing well, it's because he wants something other than he just actually wants to play well for Newcastle. So I don't know where that maybe comes from. Because I don't think he goes into games not wanting to play well. I don't know, but because I think that every game he still works hard, even when he's not playing well. It just doesn't happen for him sometimes. Like, as I said, there's been a few games I've watched this season where, like, Wolves away, for example, where he's going on the outside every single time and putting across him his left foot. I'm like, why are you doing that? That's not your game. Cut inside on the right foot, get a cross in, get a shot off. That's his game. I think his better performances have been up front this season, actually. I think his better performances have been up front, not on the left wing. There's not many games to play on the left wing where he's been good. Even in the Champions League on the left wing, not amazing. He played well against Bilbao and Benfica, maybe, on the left wing. His other best performances have all been as a striker. But I always found the Gordon thing really, really interesting because he does clearly divide the fan base. Now, Geordie Dan is asking me, what do I think of Steve Gerrard's comments regarding NUFC? If you're still on, Geordie Dan, I don't know what they are. So if you could please let me know and I'll happily address them before the end of the show, but I don't know what they are. Yes. So, got about 25 minutes left of the show, and then I'm going to work, and then I'm getting up at 3 a.m. to get my flight to Barcelona. But I can't wait. It's going to be brilliant. And, like, anyone else who's going out there, let me know as well. That'd be class. I'll happily meet up with anyone or whatever. But equally, if not, I'll be back on next week and we'll all reflect on hopefully a really, really stunning night as a Newcastle fan. Yeah, and this is I think that like there's a lot of debate around numerous things with Newcastle at the moment. Like it feels like a big week this, because if we go out the Champions League and then we lose to Sunderland, I mean, I'm not really giving the derby much thought, to be honest, as of yet, because we've got a bigger fish to fry. Let's be brutally honest. But like, if we then lose to Sunderland, what does that put Eddie Howe in as a position? You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It could be brutal. It could be brutal. It could be brutal. That could be brutal. Really could be. But equally, it could be the best week ever. You know, it could actually be the best week ever. Well, not the best week ever, because the best week ever was when we won the Carabao Cup, of course. But the best week, well, another brilliant week in Newcastle history. Like, if the week ends with a win at Stamford Bridge for the first time since 2012, you beat Barcelona to make the last 8 in the Champions League, and then you beat Sunderland at home at St James's Park, that's a pretty good week. That is a pretty good week as far as being a Newcastle fan goes. So there's a chance here. There is a chance here for this to be extremely special. And well, I guess we'll talk a little about the derby, because I'm not going to be on again this week. So we'll talk about the derby. Now, Sunderland's form has dropped off an absolute cliff. They have hit the 40-point mark, and then I think they've basically decided to throw in the season. They have, well, they're struggling with injuries. There's going to be quite a few players missing. I think defensively especially. So I think Roofs is out for the derby. I think Mukiele's out for the derby. I think Ronaldo's out for the derby. I think Dan Ballard might be out for the derby. And apparently Alderete was limping. So that's their entire back five. Their starting back five. All out of the game, or potentially out of the game anyway. Yeah, so potentially back at that's, you know, this is a big opportunity. Like, this is a big opportunity to right the wrong from the first game, which I've got to be honest, I don't think either team played well. You know, I don't think either team played well. The game in the end separated by a ridiculous own goal that doesn't happen if Dan Burn doesn't go off injured, because Dan Burn would have been in that position rather than Walter Marder, and he would have headed it away, and it would have stayed 0-0, and then who knows what happened. But a lot of our players just didn't turn up in that game. And again, you know, the Gordon point's an interesting one, because Gordon didn't play well in that game at all. He was awful, actually, against Tri-Hume or whatever. He was awful. And Alanga, probably, that was when I was extremely concerned when I watched his performance there. I was like, oh, this is not good. So Alanga, that was a concerning performance. Tonali was bad in the game. Basically, everyone was rubbish, actually, apart from Hall, Bruno, maybe Tino. That was about it. Everyone else was really poor. But like, Sunderland's season is this now. Sunderland's season is this game. That's all they're thinking about. That's all they've been thinking about since probably the last game. So I'm expecting them to turn up, sit everyone behind the ball. They will be what they are usually anyway, which is sort of difficult to bring up. But their away form, you thought we were bad on the road. They're something else. They're terrible. They've barely scored away from home. They beat Leeds a couple of weeks ago, which got them to 40 points. And it was a penalty. And it was a penalty. It was a blatant penalty. Amadou just like punched the ball in the box. But Leeds battered them. Leeds absolutely battered them. And like, the penalty should have been saved anyway. Darlow got contact with it, and he just ended up pushing it into the top of the net. So I feel like Sunderland's form is it's declining now. You know, they've stayed up. They've stayed up comfortably. Their whole thing was to stay up. I didn't think Sunderland would be in this position whatsoever. I thought they'd be scrapping down the bottom. I thought they would stay up, but I didn't think they'd stay up this comfortably. But I think they'll be up for this game. They'll be absolutely up for this game. They know that also that we could be coming off the back of a defeat. It's a chance for them to do the double over us, a famous double over us, actually, would be. So they'll be absolutely up for it. Their fans will be up for it as well, as always. But I just feel like we're clicking into gear now. I feel like we're clicking. But the odd bad performance and bad result. I think that when I look back at Everton, I think that basically goalkeeping errors cost us in that game. Ramsdale's playing well now, so okay, that we should be a little bit better on that front. Brentford would just concede immediately after every time we scored, so that was just ridiculous. But I feel like this is a game that we can make a statement in, and hopefully just establish that we're the better team. We are the better team. We're gonna prove it. A lot of our players are playing well again. I don't think one thing I don't think is that going at the derby, they didn't understand the importance of the derby. I thought that they just didn't turn up. I don't think it wasn't that they didn't understand the importance of it. They clearly did understand the importance of it. But obviously, after the game, we had Howe saying we can redeem this against Fulham in the Carabao Cup. It's like, you can't, because you can only actually redeem it now, and that's where we will be able to redeem it. We'll be able to redeem it at the weekend. After I said, hopefully, we beat Barcelona. What a week that would be. Again, I saw Geordie Dan make a point that not going to beat the weekend of the Carabao Cup because he obviously had the night before in Covent Garden, which was class. That was class. Then the Carabao Cup, and then he went to say Limp Bizkit as well. So what a great weekend that was for Geordie Dan. And I also saw your Gerard comments as well. I'll address them in a little bit. But I think that this is an opportunity for Newcastle in the derby to sort of be like, okay, right, you won the first one in a very nothing game, but this is us on our home patch. We have beaten better teams than you. Yeah, we're going to turn up and we're going to do it. And I think anything less than a win, and hopefully a comfortable win. Yeah, I think honestly, I think you've got problems for Howe. I think then, depending on what happens tomorrow, of course. I think if you beat Barcelona, because I don't know about anyone else, but I would absolutely take beating Barcelona if it means losing to Sunderland. If someone said to me right now, you will beat Barcelona, but you will lose to Sunderland, I'm taking that. And I saw some people, because it went out on Instagram, this clip actually on talkSPORT, and I saw some people call me an armchair fan, a takeover fan, whatever. And, well, one, I had a season ticket during the Mike Ashley years. I never saw anything other than Mike Ashley football. My season ticket went before the takeover because I moved to London for my career, and also when Rafa left, I decided, nah, that's it, to be honest. So yeah, I decided, nah, that's it. So that's absolutely nonsense. I have a lot of mates who are Sunderland fans, so losing them is extremely painful. And so I found it a bit. I don't care. You can call me what you want. Like you can call me. I got a lot worse than that, by the way. But I think that I found it interesting that just because I said I would rather be Barcelona, that I was an armchair fan and a post takeover fan. I was like, well, no, this is the Champions League. This is a chance for Newcastle to beat one of the most famous clubs in the world in one of the best stadiums in the world. And then rather than beating our local rivals, which is obviously massive, but our local rivals will never play in the Champions League. I'm pretty sure I can say that now. I don't think they'll ever play in the Champions League. So for them to never play in the Champions League, of course, it's more important for us to beat Barcelona in a knockout round and get through than beat Sunderland. So I would absolutely take, if someone said to me right now, you will beat Barcelona and get through the quarterfinals, where you've got a very much an even chance against Atletico Madrid, or would you take a defeat to Barcelona to beat Sunderland? No, not a chance. And I'd be interested to see what other people think on that one, because for me, this is what we're fighting for. This is what we're playing for, to get into this competition, to play these games. And if we're not playing these games, and we're not playing in these competitions, then it is all about the derby. Of course it is. But it's not, because we are playing in these competitions. We are playing in these games. We are in the best European competition around. And we have a better chance than a lot of the English teams to go through. I mean, Chelsea are going to go out. Manchester City are going to go out. Liverpool aren't guaranteed to go through either. I think Arsenal were okay against Leverkusen. I think Leverkusen could. I know it's at the Emirates. You'd say Arsenal probably still would go through, but yeah, like, who was the other team? Oh, Tottenham. Oh, not a chance. They're gone. So we could be, if we get through, we could be one of two English teams still in it, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, Claire makes a good point about the derby, actually, which I'll bring up on the screen, because this is absolutely a fair point. We need to win on Sunday. So many teams to... Yeah, look, it is. So that's where I will give you that. In terms of European... Forget about it as just the derby. In terms of the context of, like, the race for Europe, it is a very important game. It is a very important game because of how close it is now. I mean, I think Palace are on 39 points. So they're... 39 points. So they're 14th on 39 points. And then you've got Liverpool in 5th on 49 points. So I feel like you're looking at that thinking, how's only 10 points separating those positions? We could legitimately finish anywhere between 14th and 5th now, I think, for the rest of the season. With 24 points to play for. So that's really interesting. That is really interesting. I find that intriguing, to be fair, because, like, this is an opportunity, isn't it, for us to end what's been a disappointing season, and make it really special. And it'd be really special if we beat Barcelona. It'd be really special. Foxy saying the difference between tomorrow and the weekend, if we beat Barca away, it would be a major start month for the club. Of course it would be. Of course it would be. Like, by the way, we haven't beat Sunderland at home since 2010, which is insane. Like, we got the 5-1 though, which, we'll bank that away. That was a nice win. We'll bank that. But we've not beat them since then at home. You got to change that, haven't you? You got to change it. And I feel like the derby is, of course, absolutely important, but I've not really given it much thought because I'm just thinking about tomorrow. And I'm just thinking about how special it could be and how incredible it could be. Look, we could go there and get absolutely battered. Barcelona could turn it on, and they could absolutely steamroller us. But the two games we've had so far, yes, they've been at our place, but they've been very, very tight. They've been very, very tight, been very, very close. We should have definitely won last week, and we should have probably got a draw in the first one. Again, I appreciate it's different in their stadium. Of course it is, because for whatever reason, it's the same for us. We're usually better at home than we are away, although our away form has turned around, actually, in recent weeks. Charlotte will be scored in the Camp Nou. That was in a draw. Of course, if it is a draw tomorrow night, it goes to penalties. So who's going to be there? And our penalty record's good under Eddie Howe. It's very good under Eddie Howe. That was something, by the way, that we were horrendous at for years. Our penalty record was so bad. Remember that one against Hull in the League Cup during the Championship season? Wow. So, like, tomorrow is bigger for me than Sunderland. And if someone said to me right now, I can guarantee you beat Barcelona, but in exchange you have to lose to Sunderland. Yeah, I'll take it. No worries. I'll take it. No worries. As I say, it created a lot of debate on Instagram, and I got called, as I said, like a post-takeover fan or whatever. I'm not a post-takeover fan. Been a Newcastle fan for a long, long time. I've sat through some awful, grim games. I had my season ticket through some grim times, but but this is the things that we've always dreamed of, no? This is what we've dreamed of, like having this opportunity to get to the last 8 of the Champions League, where we're on the kinder side of the draw, in fairness. it's an opportunity to get. It really is. It's a chance. It's a chance of something extremely special. I've just seen there a few comments in. The lads have landed, so hopefully all good for them. They'll get out of the airport quite quickly, get to where they need to be, and they can start training. And then, yeah, I mean, as I say, for me, team tomorrow, I want to see Ramsdale, Tino, Chow, Botman, Hall, Tonali, tonight Ramsey, Joe Linton, Barnes, Gordon, Alanga. That'd be my team. Now, Monkey Sputtum, interesting name. Saying, I take a win away to Barca if it meant we lost to the Mackhams, and I've been a Toon fan since Jack Charlton was manager. Fantastic. Well, exactly. That's the point, isn't it? So, and I appreciate the support. And I get why some people maybe think the other way, but in my view, like, the Champions League is the pinnacle of club football. It is the opportunity to achieve something extremely special. You play some of the best clubs in the world that you don't play all of the time, that you don't play every season, of course. You play very rarely, in fact. And surely it's about getting that win in the Camp Nou and sealing a place in the next round of the Champions League over beating Sunderland, who we will play next season twice. Minimum. We might get them in the cup, but yeah, we'll play them next season twice because they're staying up. And you know what? Fair play to them for staying up. Again, I always thought they would. I didn't think it'd be this comfortable. They've done very well. I don't know what will happen for them in the summer. I don't know what will happen for them next season, but they have done very well. They seem to have just given up now towards the end of the year. I said they're going to have quite a few injuries for this match by the looks of it. But let's not even remotely think about that at all. Actually, Geordie Dan, I saw an interesting. Sorry, I saw your Gerard comments. I'll go back to them. So thank you for pointing them out because they were interesting. I think it was something about Gerard being the second. Gerard saying, okay, yeah, fair enough, yeah. So Gerard saying that Newcastle are his second team. They want, or he would take them winning the Premier League over everyone else, over anyone else, which is very nice comments from Gerard. I think that we probably were everyone's second team back in the 90s, I guess, with the entertainers, unless you're a Manchester United fan. It's probably a bit different now with the Saudi ownership, but I do meet a lot of other football fans, and I interact with a lot of other football fans day to day, of course, working at talkSPORT, and a lot of them have good things to say about Newcastle. They hate playing Newcastle though, like a lot. They do hate. Like I work with a lot of Chelsea fans, so I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun on Saturday, a lot of fun on Monday. I wasn't on Sports Bar last night, unfortunately, so I couldn't take the mick out of Cundy. But don't worry, that'll happen at some point. He'll get it. He'll absolutely get it because he gives it out to everyone else. So he's got to take it when Chelsea lose. I think that's an interesting point from Gerard because Newcastle are a club who a lot of people affiliate with. A few other fan bases hate us. That's fine. Who cares? And then I say, like, I think most people hate playing us as a team, or they certainly used to. We've probably come away from that being as aggressive as we were. Yeah, I mean, like Jody Dancing there. Yeah, it's a fair point. I wouldn't have expected from Stevie G, to be fair. So that's a fair point. And he was complimenting, and Claire saying he was complimenting about us holding our own in the Champions League. Yeah, he was. Absolutely, he was. Like, I feel as if we've done well in the Champions League. We've done really well in the Champions League. And as I say, we've got a very good chance of being one of the only English teams left because can you see Chelsea turn it around? I certainly can't. I think that Man City are out. I know they've turned it around other times. 3-0 down to Real Madrid at home with Mbappe back for Real Madrid. Real Madrid need a goal and it's all over. So, and Man City aren't the best defensively. So I think I think they're out. I think Tottenham are out. Liverpool only 1-0 down to Galatasaray, but we're seeing nothing from Liverpool, man. Nothing from Liverpool. They've kind of got away with it this season, to be honest. They should be getting loads more criticism than they actually are because they spent £450 million. I think, Have you seen the people who've turned on Ekitike as well, by the way? Oh, some fans have turned on Ekitike, which I find very interesting because he has turned us down twice. He has dunked on us 3 times as well. So yeah, no, a lot of fans turn on Ekitike saying that he is selfish and he's only playing for himself. So interesting on that one. And then Isak, he injured and it won't be back. He won't be back until next season, will he? Let's be honest. Like, they can keep lying and saying he's going to come back for a little bit, but I think Galatasaray, and they could do it. I think they can beat them. I think Anfield's not a scary place to. I mean, I'm absolutely annoyed that we turned and got battered 4-1 by them, but like that again, that was more some terrible mistakes, actually, to be honest. So yeah, like Galatasaray can absolutely beat Liverpool. And then Arsenal Leverkusen, well, Arsenal were not convincing at all. The penalty was soft that they got. I still think it's a penalty because, like, ultimately, like, you don't dive in from behind someone. It's stupid. What was the guy doing? Like, you're gonna if you can't get the ball, don't even try. So yeah, it was put away by Kai Havertz. Yeah, I think that in a position where, like, we've got a good chance. We've got a good chance, a better chance than a lot of the other English teams, and that's great. That is absolutely great. A few comments on TK, which I find interesting. Look, in my view, what's annoying about this season is I see how good it could have been. I think if Isak had just stayed one more year, like, you get the new contract signed, which you should have signed anyway. Should have been done. Paul Mitchell, useless. But he didn't sort it out. So Isak, for me, sign a new deal. You say to him, right, give us one more year, and then in the summer you get a pick of any club in the world. You have the Barca's, you have the Real Madrid, you have the Bayerns after you. And we would have potentially been up there challenging for the Premier League, because have you seen how the Premier League is this season? We would have definitely been up there challenging for it. And I think we also would have potentially won a domestic cup. That's just my view. I don't know. It's all if, buts and maybes, I guess, at the end of the day. And we have had to rebuild, and a lot of it has taken time. A lot has taken a lot of time, but it feels as if now, as we come towards the business end of the season, lots of players are playing well. We have found what's made us good again. The confidence is back, and we've got the chance to go to Barcelona with 10,000 Geordies in the city, 3,000 watching in the stands, and create a historic moment for our wonderful football club that will be talked about forever. And it'll be a night to remember forever as well. That's what it's all about, isn't it? That is what it's all about. It's all about the Champions League. It's all about this game. It's all about potential history and a chance to get through to the next round of the Champions League, the last 8 of the Champions League, where suddenly then, no matter how potentially far off it feels, you do have a chance of winning it. If we go out, well, I hope it's just not a battering, and I hope we put on a show and at least give the fans a few goals as well to celebrate. But I'm really, I've got this belief. I've got the belief that we've got a special evening ahead, and these are the nights that Eddie Howe's side have delivered in the past, and I really feel as if we can do it. Doesn't mean we will, but I feel if we can do it. And for one, I can't wait. Get me out there now. But, like, look, let's just see what happens. And I'll be back next week. I don't know when, but I'll be back next week. Hopefully, I'm talking about a brilliant win against Barca and a magnificent win over Sunderland as well. Because that would just be, what a week that would be. You beat Chelsea, Stamford Bridge, you then go to Barcelona, you beat them, and then you beat Sunderland as well. That would be brilliant. Let's see what happens. I don't know. Anyone who's going out to Barcelona, I hope you have the best time. at all. If you're not in Barcelona, it doesn't matter. Enjoy the game, wherever you're watching it. We all want the same thing. We all want to see something absolutely special. But let's all just see what happens. So I wish you all the best. Hope you have a class rest of your day, a class tomorrow, wherever you're watching the game. Have a good one. How are the lads?